So now we're going to talk about how to, inside Blender, it has a texture painting mode, which will let you do painting inside of Blender. But first thing we need to do is we need to add a new background. So we'll just name this one Monkey. Okay, 1024 by 1024 should be good. Alpha should be good. We can actually change this to a UV grid again. And okay. So here's our UV grid here. So let's go ahead and let's go down here to our node editor. Let's add a new material. So here we have our diffuse material. And let's go ahead and do a Shift A. And let's go ahead and put a texture, image texture, over here. So let's go ahead and open this up to Monkey. And we'll go ahead and hook color in here. And let's go to material. Okay, so this will show you a little bit better how it works with these squares. Notice how a lot of these squares are pretty much same size. But see over here on the ear, because we never took extra time to cut away parts of the ear actually has huge squares. So you would end up with getting a lot of stretching on this. See how big that square is there compared to the ones on the head. Like here's pretty nice because we took our time and cut it. So you notice down here how there's some half squares and seams and look, but you know, since we hit them back there, it's be pretty good. But this, like I said, this shows you a little bit more about how that stretching works. All right, let's go back into our UV image editor. Let's take this tab into edit mode. All right, and here we have our image here. All right, let's go ahead and change this from edit mode to texture paint. And you'll come up with some new brushes, new settings here. If I click on this here, I notice I have some brushes. I have F texture draw, soften, smear, mask, fill, and clone. Well, let's go ahead and just keep it on texture draw. You can play with some of these other brushes later. Let's change this color down to something that would be more of a monkey fur color. Maybe something like that, like a darker brown. Maybe a little bit more towards red. Yeah, something like that. Two things we can do here. We can either paint directly on the texture by left clicking here. And notice how, since those are on top of each other, over here, it's actually painting both sides. So you have this. We want to also take the opacity up to completely fill that in. Or another thing you can do is if you go over here and change this from view to paint, now you can actually paint here. We can adjust the radius. So we know this is the top of the head. So let's do this. Let's paint that. All right. We know, where's the other part here? So that's the top of the head. This is the inside of the ear. So let's brighten that up, make it kind of a, maybe like a beige. There we go. So let's go and take our pixels down and just right click and we'll paint that. So now you have the inside of the ear. We know the face is going to be about the same color as the inside of the ear, so we just paint around this. Now we got the face of the monkey. You can see it painted that all in. The eyes are going to be white, so let's take that up to white. A little bit of an off-white maybe. Paint this. Okay. You'll notice some of the, it's because this mesh is not subdivided or smooth that we're getting some of the white of the eye, but that'll be taken care of here soon. Okay, we can zoom in some more if we'd like. Let's go down here to the eye. Maybe we want to make him have some blue eyes. Take this down. It's kind of hard to adjust this sometimes, so maybe we'll go 25. That's about it, but let's go 20. And we just want it to fit over this middle piece here. Okay, and then we'll take this down to black. Okay, we'll take this to 10. Okay, let's go back over this middle part here again. And now we have some pupils in there. Let's go ahead and go back up to the mouth here. Go over here. Another thing you can do is if you want to color, you can click on this box here, hit the eyedropper, and then copy the color. And it'll take you right back to that color. So here we want a little bit stronger. You notice it's like still kind of see-through, and you'll be able to see through. But let's say the nose here, we want it to be kind of maybe a very soft pink. So let's take this down some more. Paint that in there. Yeah, we can see we have to go a little bit farther up here. Yeah, not the best color pink, but for our purposes it'll work. And then we can go shift and use the same thing like shift and middle mouse button to pan down. So let's go ahead and do the mouth. Like I said, you can see this happening right over there as you're doing it. Okay, so there's our Suzanne. Okay, like I said, with this getting rid of this white in the eyes, let's go ahead and add a modifier. Let's do a subdivision surface. Okay, we could just take it to 1. Let's go back to our object mode, and let's smooth. And then if you want to crank this up any or everything that gets rid of that, gives it more of a roundness. All right, so now what you want to do is, this is what it looks like without the wireframe there. So now you could do a couple things. You could save this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image. I'm going to put save as image. And I'm going to call it this one here, just a UV text paint test 01. It doesn't matter, whatever file you want to save it as. All right, so now this is our image. So let's go back over to our node editor. And all we have to do is change this. UV text paint 01. Open that image. And now, if we go into rendered mode, our sun lamp's awful bright. So let's knock it down a little bit. Hit Z a couple times. Pick our light here. Let's go ahead. Lamp. Let's turn it down to 5. And then we'll go back into rendered mode. And there we go. And like I said, you can take this image that we saved and you can take it over into Photoshop, lines, more details, but doing the texture paint in Blender will give you an idea of where everything is. It'll just make it easier like that. So you can use an image, you can actually texture paint in Blender, or you can texture paint in Blender and then go over and use another program to make a better picture. Or you take your UVs over and if you accept PNGs, paint on the layer underneath the wire look, the UV map itself, and save it. Just possibilities are endless.